me a bit about the bigger picture here then. So the Dutch have kicked off, but this is a global issue, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a global issue that's going to hit Europe first and foremost. And it's so much worse than the way it was just portrayed. I mean,
Right.
when I was reading up on this stuff, I was thinking, no, it's got to be an exaggeration. No government's clearly trying to put out half their farms out of business. But that's exactly what the Dutch government is trying to do. They have gone completely mad. There is an environmental issue here, just to be clear, why they're doing this, which is all about nitrogen, NOx emissions. It's not quite the same thing as net zero, but it's all linked to the same sort of environmental strategy. And what they want to do is get those emissions down, but the way they're going about it is they've simply taken a UN direction that have then been translated into an EU law that has then been translated into a set of yearly emissions that hit Holland most because they export the most from agriculture.
Right. Do you think that the people in charge really believe in this environmental cause? Because, or do you think they're just doing it? Because it's really weird where I'm sitting, really weird, that clearly they're happy to put a lot of their own citizens out of business, cost a lot of people a lot of money, must inconvenience people for the pursuit of the... Do they really think the world's going to end?
It's not that they think the world's going to end, but they think it matters. And they've got this equivalent to net zero trap where they're so obsessed with the target, they're making terrible decisions. Because the environmental impact from some of these things is uncertain. There's been a big Royal Society report on this in the UK, where they estimated the impact of the similar emissions was about £700 million a year. Now, the Dutch agriculture industry is one of the biggest in the world. It's exporting about 100 billion every year. And that's a trade-off. And they're going to destroy all of that. And it won't actually make much difference to global emissions of nitrogen,
isn't it?
because they'll just offshore it. Other people elsewhere will be producing the cattle that have been killed in Holland to satisfy this net zero goal.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing, isn't it? It's one of those things that is, weirdly, the net zero stuff is what arguably a lot of vegans are behind as well, and now we've got cattle being slaughtered. But just lastly, Andy, I mean, this is going to kick off, I would have thought, throughout the world, frankly. But do you think there's a lack of faith in humanity here? The idea that we are not capable of coming up, without maybe necessarily making too many changes, right? We're not capable of coming up with a solution to this environmental crisis ourselves. We've got to make loads of changes now. Do you not think that human beings are going to sort this out? We're going to come up with something?
Well, the Dutch know that they can, because the Dutch farmers reduced their emissions by about 60% over the last 2 years. And their reward for that is for the government to turn around and say, not good enough, despite there being very little evidence that it's only the agricultural sector that's causing the problem. They're just taking the brunt of it because they think they can. It's 2% of the population. They think they're a soft target. Well, they've clearly proven they're not a soft target. And you can expect those protests to start spreading into other countries that are facing similar emission limits, unless their governments wise up and take, as you say, a more pragmatic approach and believe in people to invent the solutions.